it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, if it's like, hey, Fred's special, hashtag, it's like, well, no one's searching for that hashtag. They don't know it exists.
No, not at all. They don't. Now, I said I've taken years of using several hashtags of my own that I created, and now if you happen to search that hashtag, a lot more people are using it, and like I dominate that hashtag. But most of the time it's just No,
I tried to. There's two on Instagram I tried to create over the years. One was just a joke. It was Turn Signal Challenge because I was pissed off at cars, and I'm like, I wanted to start the Turn Signal Challenge. And then my favorite one, which I thought would take off, was why I stuck at Instagram. And I used to take pictures of the food after I ate it. So it was just an empty plate. And it was just hashtag why I stuck at Instagram. And I thought that was funny, but it didn't go. And sometimes they're just for me. And then I was at a restaurant and it was a glass table. And I took a picture from underneath and I said Instagram photos in Australia. And nothing, crickets. And I'm like, I was cracking up. But
that was a good one.
Sometimes they're just for me.
So that's it. Sometimes I said I just do dumb stuff and just giggle, and Jessica's like, "What?" And I tell her something, and she's like, "It's dumb. Like, it was just for me." That's all it makes a difference.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, welcome everybody. We've been live for about 90 seconds now. So this is just the show tonight. We're just going to be doing some chatting. Having some witty repartee, as they would say.
Wow, now the pressure's on.
Yeah, now the pressure's on. Fred, welcome back. Welcome back to the show. It's been a year. I wrote down here almost a year. Last time we saw you, you had just gotten back. Oh, on the show. Yeah, on the show.
Really?
Yeah, it was. You had just gotten back from Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest.
Wow,
Is when we had you. I know.
Where'd the time go?
I don't know. We're old. It just keeps flying by faster and faster.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, all right. Well, yeah, man, it's good to be here. We had a fun little contest. Had a lot of fun with it. I think I mentioned before we started airing. I loved the bit with the trying to ignore my call when you were hanging shelves. That was great.
Yeah, and then even the first one, like the click the link, the phone one. Like I remember we were chatting about that one. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a video, and sometimes I get these mental blocks. So Jessica says something happens to me when a camera gets hit. You hit record. She goes, It's just you can watch. She goes, I can watch you change into a different person. And so sometimes I hit record on my camera set up here or on my phone, and then just throw it all up. Then that first one. That's just that was one take, and that was it.
Those are the best. Those are the best. When you realize that when you get comfortable enough to know that it's okay to make mistakes or something and just keep going, it's like then you're just like you're totally free of all of it. Hi to everybody. Chat. Hi Barry, Danny, Bruce, Facebook user number 11745. Stogie Road Cigars. Jessica Cook. Is Fred going to do any magic tricks? No, I am not, Bryce. But I wish I would have thought about that. So. I think the one time I tried to do it on the show, it didn't work. So,
yeah, you have to get with what's his from Rockefeller Cigars. He used to be a magician.
You know what's funny? When we were in Texas for Underground's event, and we must have spent a half hour inside there going over tricks. And I told him about one trick, and I brought it back the next day to show him exactly how it was. It's a really cool trick. So we're giving away stuff. I've got how many prizes did I say I was giving away? How many main prizes? I think it's 3.
I don't know if we ever said that.
I probably didn't say, but I'm going to give away 3. So I'm going to give away 3 main prizes. So the main prizes, I'm basically going to grab a box, and Kevin wasn't lying to you. I have no idea what's going into it. I'm going to walk over to the shelves of stuff, and I'm going to throw in some T-shirts and hats. I'll see if I can find some of those Ultra hats since you're wearing one of those. I know that those 3 people, by the way, and if you didn't register, because I did send out the email and tell people I was going to be here. If you didn't register, we're going to give away a couple of random ones. No idea how we're going to do that yet. I was in Nicaragua last week, which is why we had to delay the show. I did pick out some ESP packs that I found. So these are the 10 packs that everybody likes to have at events. I know there's not a lot left because we recently did a count, but I swiped 3 of these. And I also These were done right on the rolling table. Matter of fact, I took a picture and posted it, and it was in the email. Dion did not roll these, but he was at the rolling table when we were checking these tobaccos, and I stole these out of the blending room, and I'm not going to give away all of them because, well, maybe let's see, maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. And then I also have some Artifact 5-packs, and I'm going to give away some of those. Oh, these look good. Okay, Artifact 4-packs. I'm going to give away.
So
they just became 4-packs.
So giving away stuff live on the show here is piece of cake.
Okay, good.
StreamYard has a giveaway tool, so when we're ready to give something away, all you have to do is give a code word, and people type that in, and then it'll pick that a random.
Oh,
so yeah,
wow.
Super easy. And that's it. But before we give anything away, I want to spend a couple minutes.
I'm not gonna give anything away yet, but I did build the wheel. I have all the entries that entered in. And I have one of those wheel of names.
Okay.
And I don't know if I can screen share at some point or not.
Yeah. But, down at the bottom of your screen, it says present. So present is screen share. Are you on a computer?
I am on a computer. Is it in settings?
No, it's right next to settings. You'll have mute, stop cam, set.
You mean the large box that says present with a plus sign? Yes. Okay. Yes. I will use that one. Okay. All right. Wow. I swear to God, it wasn't there a minute ago. I swear to God, it was just settings and Leave Studio. And I was tempted on either one.
Yeah. I toggled it on real quick. No, it's So let's spend a couple minutes chatting. Like I said, last time we talked to you, I said right after PCA, right after Rocky Mountain. Since then, in the cigar I'm smoking, that we're going to talk about not necessarily this cigar, but the one I'm smoking tonight is the Illusione, the Habano. My new cameras I'll be getting for the lounge. I'll be able to zoom in. So I've been seeing a lot of the new branding. People having the cigars. Some people like, hey, what's going on with the new branding? Some people are confused with rebranding, reblending. Obviously, you have those people that have already said the cigars aren't the same since the.
Are they really?
Since
I haven't heard that yet.
Yes, since they rebranded, and I'm like, you people, and
then it was bound to happen. Yeah, look. So it's not. So we repackaged the OD line. Is all we did, the original documents line, and then there were some additions. What we did is we moved Ultra, which already existed under the original documents line. And the Habano you're smoking is brand new. Matter of fact, that was a recent blend. It's just been released within the last couple months, so it's hitting the shelves. It is Dion actually did not do that at Agnorsa. He went over to AJ Fernandez, and the reason being is that Dion's all about the tobacco. We've got some videos coming out that are going to really kind of illustrate that. But he finds a tobacco, or he has an idea in his mind of what he wants, and he wanted what he thought was the truest expression of a Nicaraguan Habano. And, so it meant he wanted to have a Nicaraguan Habano. And AJ had a tobacco. Dion's known AJ for years. They've talked about doing something, he's got to come over. So Dion went over there, would show him a lot of tobaccos, then show him some stuff that he had done on a Habano. And Dion loved it. So he decided he wanted to make a cigar out of that. So he ended up going over there and making the cigar. So that one is new. That one didn't exist. But all the other blends, it's just bands and boxes different. There is zero change to any of the cigars. Matter of fact, a lot of the cigars that are already in the boxes have been rolled for a while anyway. They're the same cigars. Yeah. He's not going to change anything. He's not going to change a blend. There's no reason to change a blend. And so the idea was really just to kind of get Illusione out of the shadows a little bit. And those boxes become a little bit easier to identify from afar. We also addressed, some of the retailers as far as the sizes, because there were always, the numbers and letters, which, the geek in me loves and still loves to this day. But if you have an 888 and that's the nickname for a Churchill, and if they're out of 888s, you may not realize that the other numbers and letters in that same Corojo wrapper are the same exact blend. So it just standardizes the names, cleans that up, gives it a nice refresh. The company's been around since 2005. So it was time. It was time to, kind of have something new out there and a different look. Same cigars. Like I said, Illusione has always been that kind of circle of friends cigar. We've talked about it before. I mean, it's just there's over 15 15 top 25 list of Cigar Aficionado. He has the highest rated cigar ever published by Cigar Aficionado with the Fume de Amor.
Does he?
He has the I believe it's that one. He has the they did an entire flight of every size of Epernay, and they were all above 91, I think, or something like that. So I mean, so he's not going to mess with what brought him to the dance. So it's always been that inner circle geek cigar. Haute 10 was the first hit Half Wheel's #1 cigar, and it was a big popular among a cigar media that year when that came out. It was kind of a premium luxury cigar, if you will, for that market. And so it's just always been that one, if you know, because it's a company that doesn't really do a lot of advertising, doesn't really do a lot of swag, doesn't really do a lot of events. And we're cool with that. We're totally cool with that. But it just kind of came time with the market and stuff to just kind of go, you know what? We can stay where we are, or we can go ahead and let a few more people in. So it really is just kind of peeling back the curtain a little bit, coming out of the shadows, and some people that are true cigar enthusiasts to discover the brand or rediscover the brand. I mean, I've gone back through some of the cigars in the last year that I'm like, wow, why am I ever off the cigar? It needs to be in the rotation. So yeah.
So what about, I got a couple cigars now. I don't know, like, and we can talk about is on all the packaging, like we got the fancy foil colors. Are these staying? Are these going? The foils?
So they're staying. Matter of fact, that was one of the first questions when we rebranded. So a lot of people know the MJ12, which is the Gordo, and it was in the silver foil. And there's a Maduro that's black foil. There's also Cruzado, which is gold, but I'll leave that one aside for right now. So we lose the MJ12 name. And when we talked about, the names, change, the package changing and the names changing, my first question to Dion is like, please tell me you're not getting rid of the foil one. Because it's just like everybody, knows and grabs it. He's like, no, the foil stays. So now there are actually 5 if you count Cruzado, but I won't because it's not in the original documents. But basically, you have the Maduro, the Habano, the Corojo, and I think you have all of them right there. Which one? Habano being new. So the Habano's blue, the Corojo's silver.
Yeah, Gordo is purple.
Yeah. Well, no, they're all Gordos. So the purple is purple is the Ultra.
Yeah, the Ultra, and then the Habano is the silver.
Blue.
Yeah, or is that blue? Okay, this lighting in here is weird, and I got
there is a blue, and there's a silver, which is.
And I got
Silver's
pink glasses on. Yeah, I got pink glasses on, and the Maduro is black.
Yeah, so it's nice because you go on there and you can identify them if that's your size. If not, you can obviously get a different size of the same blend. But I like the foil. I like the whole thing behind it. I just think they're cool. It's like Christmas. It's like you're unwrapping a present, but you're not disappointed because you know what's inside.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Carl Hammermeister. His name was my name too. It's yeah. Picked up a Singolare as my introduction into Illusione, and now I want to find them all. That was a question I had because I didn't know, because someone asked me about this cigar and like the history of it, and I go, I didn't know there was a history. So I kind of pulled up like a little info, I Googled it, and Half Wheel came up. So I didn't know like this used to be a cigar, like it was an LE. So, the article was not real specific. So tell us about the Singolare.
Sure. So again, everything centers around tobacco. So the Singolare was an LE. It was an annual release, and it changed every year. And Dion would find a tobacco, and he'd build a cigar around it. And so, you had Singolare Phantom. You had all these different names as each year went on and on. And so he wanted to, he couldn't necessarily remake them because it was just, depending on tobacco, sometimes you could find a small run of something enough to put out an LE. But he wanted that really to be part of a core line, to be actually something available. So what he did is he kind of went back and he basically reblended based on what he loved about some of them, and take the best of the best, if you will, and that became what is now the Singolari Origin, which is now available. As far as the question, as far as finding older ones, man, good luck. Maybe you can find them in a shop. I don't think we have any. There may be some at Beyond Store. I'm gonna have to take a look. We don't ship any. I know that there's none in the warehouse, but you can certainly find some out there occasionally. But what this gives us is it gives us a core line, and that's not to say that we won't go back and do an LE I'd like to do a Christmas run, but that's kind of tired. But sometime out of the year, maybe we bring back the Phantom or bring back one of those other ones as that tobacco is available, and so everybody's used to smoking the core line one, but they can jump and grab one of the LEs when they're out, without the disappointment of going, hey, I can never get this again. You can get one pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah. And people, Bryce says, I can't find a Singularity anywhere near me. Definitely. If you can't find them anywhere near you, you smoke in a Corona. Either. Yeah.
And actually, you know what? Yeah. Look, the show is a week away. PCA is a week away. And so we have what's blocks where people can pick up all the ODs, and Singolari Origin is actually in that block. So it's starting to hit all the shelves now, because again, this is another fairly recent release, even though it was announced a while ago. But you're going to see a lot more of them hitting the shelves now for sure. And I love the look. I love the band. You can see the band and the banner there. It's got Ramsey's owl in there. It's cool. I love it. And it's a great blend.
It's a great. I love it. It's definitely. It's my care. We talk all the time on the show. My co-host on our Monday night show. Habanos are just so hit and miss. When you get a great Habano that doesn't have that sourness, but it's got like that spiciness. Mm-hmm. Man, like I said, you have just got a fantastic. 30 seconds in whether which Habano you have, and this one. 100%. I mean, this one seconds in, you're like, yes. This is actually one of the good, and I don't know. I said I'm not a cigar nerd enough to know like what makes a Habano sour, what doesn't. I don't know if it's region, if it's specific, So I don't know.
Look, Habano 2000 Ecuadorian is probably one of the most popular Habano used, and there's nothing wrong with that wrapper. And most likely anybody getting a hold of that wrapper, which is not what we use Nicaraguan, but anybody getting Habano wrapper in itself shouldn't have any of those qualities. So I would go back to the blend at that point. I mean, you really shouldn't be getting tobacco, especially wrapper quality, that has any problems with it whatsoever. But yeah, you're right. I mean, a good Habano expression of the tobaccos that play well together. Sometimes you can have a blend and you put some wrappers on it and it doesn't work at all. Some of them works great, and don't force it. Don't throw a Habano just because you want to release a Habano and throw it on your other cigar that happens to be a Connecticut and go, it's automatically going to work, because that doesn't always work. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it's just magic. You literally take off something, throw a Maduro wrapper on, and you're like, oh my God, they all played well together. But that's not always the case. It's usually not the case.
Yeah, I would say it's probably rarely the case that happens. But like you said, I've heard of it. We've seen it, and it works, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah. It's definitely, if you like Habanos, I would definitely recommend trying that. There's so many. I mean, it's fun when we do these shows because there's so many people that have been around the portfolio for a long time. There's so many great cigars in there. Someone mentioned the Rex. I don't have a Rex with me, but the Rexes are the little ones that are just, small does not mean it can't be flavorful. I don't have an hour to smoke or 2 hours to smoke, but I still want to have a full-bodied experience in a smaller smoke. Rex is awesome for that. And that was actually Dion made it for his friend in the store that used to be his attorney. That was a guy that used to go out and, travel the world and, look for gold and, and stuff like that. So, it was a cigar made for him that kind of took off locally a little bit. Then everybody knew about it. So then it got pushed out everybody. So you can find Rexes are pretty hard to find, but we have plenty of them. It's just shops. They're in packs. They're in gold packs, gold little bricks. So you can find those, or certainly get your store to get those, but those are great little smokes. Someone asked, what were the unbanded cigars given out at the Great Smoke 23? I'm assuming you're talking about the 5-packs, which is now a 4-pack because I'm smoking one. Those are what's called the artifacts. So what we try to do at events is we try to bring something that's not available in the portfolio. So sometimes we might do something in another size that's not available, but then we'll usually say, hey, this is this cigar, not in this. Sometimes they're just one-off blends. That's what I give away tonight. I've got actually some of these to give away. I've got these that we're playing around with, and I've got these 10 packs, these ESP 10 packs. And I've seen some of the guys that were there that got a hold of these and at a couple events and are smoking these. And these are ones people fight over just because you can't get them. And people, what you can't have, but if you have a great cigar you can't get, then that's kind of fun.
Oh yeah, and I wasn't familiar with that cigar, so that's an event. How do you get the ESP for people that want them?
ESP was only at specific events.
Yeah.
I'm actually we can make more of them, so I'm actually trying to pressure Dion to make more because I think there's less than 50 packs, and there's 30 in my humidor here. Soon to be. I'm golfing the next 2 days, so soon to be 29 in my humidor. But yeah, this is something I'd like to do again. But we always have something. We always have something that are you going to be at the show next week?
No, unfortunately, we're
okay.
we're buttoning up the lounge. We've got a couple weeks worth of work to do, and we're done. So we're gonna have to skip it this year.
So there's a cigar we're giving out at the cocktail party, in the hall from 4 to 7 on Saturday night, and it's a cigar that when we were there last December, Dion spends hours just going through the Polones. And like I said, so his process is when he goes down there, he gets stuff that's just in there and, just sees what the tobacco is, just gets on his radar. Then he's also looking at another batch that was from the previous trip that, okay, it's been sitting in the Polones for 3 to 5 months. Okay, how's it aging? Is it what I thought it was going to be? Is it something different? And then he goes through all the tobacco that's about to go into the cigars. So literally, so that's what we did this last week. Everybody says, "Oh, you're going to Lee. It's going to be a blast." We sit in a conference room for like 9 hours smoking cigars, and Dion is getting the leaves. He rolls them up in the cigar. He smokes them. Says, "Okay, this is perfect. Okay, this one, the binder. Bring me. Let's go back to that bale and find out what's. Okay, I don't want this as a binder. Let's get something else." Yeah, that's him doing it, and he just makes notes and goes through just over and over and over again as what's about to be rolled that week. So I don't know anybody that hands on. So I had a point. Oh yeah. So December, when we were going through the Polones, there was Eduardo was playing with some new tobacco that was experimental, and Dion loved it. And we all smoked right there. It wasn't quite ready yet, but we loved it. And so it was totally on his radar. He went back again in February, blended with it, and we went back last week and blended with it again. So we're going to give away that cigar, and that's probably something that's going to come out in 2024. But it is amazing.
So let me I don't want to interrupt. Let me back up for a second. So it was on his radar when back in December. So so at that point, does he say like I'm kind of digging on this? Hold all of this off for me. Oh, he does.
Yes, he does. He does. Yep.
And then they and then he could have went back.
It's specific Polones. It's. I mean, we'll go through there and just smoke straight Ligero for 3 hours or 2 hours. I mean, and go through whatever, and he'll just keep going through it and going through it.
And then if he doesn't want it, be like, nah, I'm okay with it. Then just.
But they'll use it. They'll use it. It's it's agnostic. They'll use it. It doesn't mean that it's not good. It just means it doesn't fit what he was going for. So it's all good tobacco. But every once in a while, and this was one of those tobaccos, you come across something special. You come across something that just melds together. I think that's really what he did a lot with the one-off. The Haute 10 was another one that was like that. Fume d'Amour was another one that just he glues on a tobacco and starts building around that tobacco. But yes, he's that particular. I mean, we have the thing that's the not industry standard. We kind of have two taglines. One is not industry standard, and that is not. I can tell you from being in the business, since 2010, 2012, I've seen a lot of guys down there. I don't see anybody go through there with that detail. I just don't. There's not too many guys that do that. And then the other one is kind of this tag we use is, deep in flavor, deep in your mind, which we kind of always have that hypnotizing look at or whatever like that. But the point being is that, you want a cigar to have flavor. You want it to have that. But deep in your mind is that next level when you're smoking a cigar and you're you're transported back to your, first cigar on a beach in Mexico or something, or, well, that's a bad example because that was probably a fake Cuban, but, when you could have cigars with your grandfather, or, your first moments of having, or maybe you remember something from your childhood, maybe you remember something, from college, whatever it may be. So it's those reflective moments that we want you to smoke a cigar that triggers all that it's not just smoke a cigar for smoking. Anybody can make a cigar, but can you make a cigar meaningful? Can you make it something that's got flavor and layers and just really, enjoy it that way?
Yeah. And not just having special occasion cigars. I hear that all the time. I have cigars that, I lost a buddy of mine, his dad, which was like a second dad to me a couple of years ago. And it hit me hard. And I remember that day, smoking a cigar, and, and now that's the cigar I go back to when I'm having a problem, so in manufacturing. So my buddy Dick was a robotics guy, a machinist, tool and die maker. He would always tell me, Kevin, you're overthinking it. Kevin, stop. And then when I'm having an issue with a project that I'm working on, I go grab that cigar, I light it up, and I just kick back in my chair, and I can hear Dick's voice saying, Kevin, stop overthinking it. And it's that cigar that does it every time. And it's like, he's like, oh, I got it. So, that's what cigars do. Like you said, just brings back memories, and it's such a great thing.
I love the cigar culture. The only thing that I ever found in my life that was close to cigar culture is when I was in school in England, and I would go to a pub, and it's like strangers would all get together, they drink, they just talk. You talk to strangers. You just talk, and then you all go home. And cigars are great. It's that culture of, look, sometimes you want to hang around a bunch of people and you're having a great time smoking cigars and maybe having drinks, maybe not. And then sometimes you just want to be like by yourself. You just want to sit there and chill and enjoy a cigar and relax. Maybe you're reading, maybe you're watching Netflix. I don't know. But it always fits. The whole culture of it is great. I think if more people smoke cigars, there'd be a lot less problems in the world.
There'd be a whole lot less problems in the world. If we could do, I was on that Zoom meeting. I think it was exactly a year ago, a couple days ago, came up in my Facebook memories, and it was with Donald Trump Jr. talking about cigars. And he was talking about some of his political adversaries, that he fights with in the news and on public. And then he goes, but, I forget who it was. Two of the guys belonged to his lounge that in New York. And he goes, yeah, when they come in, we all just chat. We all smoke cigars. We have a good time. And we're all friends. He goes, but as soon as we leave, we have to be on the other, the other sides of the aisle. And I'm like, well, you don't have to be, but yeah, I think he said it, if we could if we could just legislate inside the lounge.
Look, I believe that. I've known people that and watching stuff like that, and you'll see them argue on TV and yell at each other, and then they're going and having dinner together, joking around what they're going to say the next day. I mean, it's all a show for us, in my opinion. It's sad. It really is sad. And look, I've smoked cigars with guys for over a decade that I have no idea what they do for a living, and I don't care. It's just we go, we have a good time. We sit. There's no drama. It's just, you solve the world's problems. You go home, then you come back the next day because they're all messed up again. I always say, but it's just a great culture. It's just a great culture.
Yeah, Jessica's been finding that at Corona Cigar Sarasota. A lot of these guys coming in every day, and just regular guys, you and I, and then after a couple of weeks, want to come up in conversation what they did, and then like two former mayors of Sarasota, this guy that's building a $1 billion condo down on Sarasota Beach, and it's like she's like, what? It's just they don't care when you enter that lounge, all that stays outside, and it's just about the cigars.
Yeah, it's funny because I always people that are in a lounge that have regulars, they think that they're unique. You've got a guy that's a billionaire, millionaire next to a guy that's, I don't know, a janitor. And there's nothing against janitors. I'm just trying to, economically and everything in between and stuff like. But everybody thinks their lounge is unique, the personality types. But when I go to another lounge, I can find the guy that has to smoke a specific brand and has to make sure everybody sees it. I only smoke Cubans, are the best. There's always that guy that has to talk all about his money. Then there's the guy that's super wealthy that never talks about his money, that drives just a normal car that you wouldn't know. Then there's the other guy that's overly outgoing. Then there's the other guy that is like way too close to you talking. And like every lounge has that same personality somewhere in there.
Oh, they do. I've seen it across the country. All the lounge, it's always the same thing. You've always got the janitor, and in our lounge it was the lawn care guy, lawn care Dave. I was the mechanic. We had the retired.
Okay, the lawn care guy's probably the millionaire.
He was not a great businessman. So, but
that's what makes it great going into a lounge you don't know when you're traveling, because you kind of feel a little bit comfortable because there's a familiarity, even though you don't know the people. That, obviously there's some lounges that, probably aren't, welcoming, and most of them should be. But, for the most part, everybody's like, yeah, come on, have a cigar. Where are you from? That kind of thing.
That's it.
Where else can you do that?
Yeah. And I always said, I've said it before. I said it at our local lounge. We always made it a point. It was kind of like an unwritten rule when someone came into the lounge that we didn't recognize or know. Everybody stopped what they were talking, and everybody greeted that person. And then when they went to the humidor, when they come out, because that's always the most nerve-wracking. It still is for me. I can make friends anywhere when I'm traveling. You come out of the lounge, and especially if it's a tight-knit group of guys and it's lack of seating, you don't know, do I join these guys? Do I sit? So we always make it a point is like, come sit with us. Come over here.
Right.
Someone always, if there's not enough chairs, someone always gives up their chair. Because we always want to make someone feel welcome. Because we know the brick and mortars have to survive in order for this industry to survive to a point.
Yeah. I don't know how many times I've been in a lounge that's just packed, and you'll see one chair. Hey, mind if I sit here? And then, half hour later, you're all just talking, about whatever. It's a great environment for that. And that never happens to me at Krispy Kreme. Nobody ever talks to me at Krispy Kreme, so.
No, or Dunkin' Donuts. It's just the most miserable people waiting in line, shuffling. Because there's some 17-year-old behind the counter that doesn't know the difference between a Boston cream and a whatever. And or you give them like $1.10 because you're going to need an even dollar change, and they don't know how to make the change or whatever like that. Which it's funny. So it's funny. So everybody makes fun of the other generation as far as like they don't know how to operate a microwave. They don't know how to do a standard shift and stuff like that. And it's like, that's on the parents. It was your job to teach them that. You don't get to blame the next generation as a whole and say, oh, they're all screwed up. They did this. It's like, what? That's on you. No one's born knowing how to do that stuff. You have to take an active role in parenting and teach them that. You do. You have to teach them at least like the basics. I remember this has been years ago now, probably 5 or 6 years ago. My kids aren't mechanics like me, but I've taught them enough to where they won't get suckered, if they're traveling, or at least they know the little bit. I remember my daughter called me up one day. It was her first car. It broke down, and she was able to give me specific enough details about what happened in that incident that I knew exactly what was wrong with the car. So I was able to put together some tools and go fix that, but that was just, just teaching the little things. It's just, they don't have to know how to change their own oil, but they got to know what oil does. And they got to know the, kind of the procedure of what gets changed.
Well, I mean, hey, in their defense, working on a car now compared to when we were kids is very different. I mean, I remember timing lights and all the other stuff. Now you open up it and you're like, if you don't have the patch, to plug into the computer, you don't even know where to start.
It's so much easier. I would never go back. I've been doing this 25 years. I don't ever want to go back to the old cars. New cars are so much easier to work on.
Really?
They are. Oh my God. It's so much easier, because you have, so we do have, the tool we plug in. My scanner gives me a code, but then the manufacturer gives me a tree, to start off with. Okay, here's your code. A lot of times we know what the tree is, but okay, so you have this. Is it doing this? You go here. Is it doing this? You go here. If not, you go here. And then you keep going back and forth. And then with testing along the way, and then bam, there's your answer. A lot of times
I don't know, man. I don't have that skill. But I'll tell you what, I don't have that skill, but I do have YouTube. And I don't know how many times some 14-year-old in, Philippines has taught me how to do something in Photoshop or whatever. And whatever it is, and it's so funny. So I have a Jeep Gladiator, and I'll do work on that, and like, oh, I want to install this, or whatever. So if I search for the YouTube videos and they're over 30 minutes, I know I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
I know that it's like so I wanted to put in a USB thing into my dash, and there's one guy that I go to for videos a lot, and it was like an hour and 10-minute video, and I'm like, oh, this can't be good. I'm like fast forwarding, it's like the whole dash is in pieces, and I'm like, oh no, okay, I probably shouldn't do this.
So we as technicians, I've been doing this 25 years. I still watch YouTube at least twice a week. We had we had a module to replace behind the dashboard, one of the other techs, and there were 8 1-hour videos, an 8-parter to replace one module behind the dashboard of a Mercedes. 8 hours of watching. And that guy, at the very beginning, that guy had said, we're going to break this up into hour-long videos. You do everything I do in this 1-hour video, and then you move on. And it was amazing. And at one part, it was, so you're sitting in the driver's seat, and he goes, here's what you're going to do. It's an electric seat. You're going to hit the button back. You're going to count to 6 and then stop in that spot, because that spot is going to reveal a bolt that can only be accessed when that seat is in that specific spot.
See, now that's what's crazy about it. I mean, I had to watch a video on how to change a battery in my Jeep. Not the normal battery, the auxiliary battery, which, by the way, is buried below 17 things. And I'm like, this is the stupidest thing ever. But I'm with Jim Miller. I still have a timing light, Jim. I don't throw away anything. So if anybody needs a charger for the 6 StarTech AT&T phone, I've got one in the drawer. I mean, I don't throw away anything.
So there are occasions when, like, the battery, like on a Jeep, the auxiliary battery or something, like I'll have Mitchell, it'll give me this procedure, and it'll be like, remove this. And I'm looking at it, I go, that's dumb. I don't think you got to remove. I'll hop on YouTube, and then there'll be some guy on there like, don't pay any attention. Here's the trick. And I'll be like, right. I knew it. Thank you, YouTube. Yeah. So for those tips and tricks. And that's why I do my tech tip every Sunday. Try and give people tips.
All right. Enough about car tips. I feel like we're on a car show all of a sudden. So,
I get you go on. Do you want to do our first giveaway?
Yeah. Let's do a random one.
Yeah. So
we'll do an artifacts pack. Okay, and this can be anybody. So whether they register or not, somebody watching. Well, and I've got the list, but we don't have to go to the wheel yet, because we'll save the wheel for the big prizes. So let's do an artifact pack.
Just type in the word Fred. So just type in the word Fred. That way I can.
That's just going to screw up all the algorithms online.
Yeah. So that way they can pick out a comment. So everybody just start typing in the word Fred. So when I see those.
I think Eduardo should automatically win. He typed in bacon. That's solid.
Yeah. That's always the right answer. Bacon.
Always the right answer.
Unless it's Canadian bacon. Not always the right, it has a time and place, but
totally different animal. It's great on an Egg McMuffin.
Well, I think it is the same animal, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, you said totally different animal. I'm like, if I thought it was wrong, okay. I'm like,
fair enough. For
a split second, I go, oh my God, what animal does it come from?
It might as well be. Hey, Steve, I saw Steve Tossin there, Trap's there, Chad's there.
Yeah.
Bill Payne. It's just Manny. Oh, it's just Manny. Yeah. I do like bacon. Yeah, it's
Manny. He's a big Oak Island fan. Do you watch Oak Island?
I was on Abe's show last Saturday, and it was his 500th anniversary, so they had me and Raphael on there, and Abe asked me the question at the end that was would you give up for the rest of your life cigars or bacon?
Oh man.
And I'm like, wow, that was not fair.
Yeah. not fair.
I chose bacon, believe it or not.
Oh, I would too. So Chris M.
And
this is for the 5-pack, correct?
Yep. So get a hold of Kevin, and he'll get me the list of everybody. Congratulations, Chris M.
Kevin at cigarprop.com. So anybody that wins tonight, shoot me an email tonight or tomorrow, Kevin at cigarprop.com.
All right, let's do another one. I'm going to give away one of these out of this pack, and then I'll throw something else in there as well with it.
All right.
These were just, I stole these from the factory, but I didn't put them in the cello because I don't really have that skill.
And what were we giving away here? I forgot to write that down.
These are just some one-offs that we did in the factory.
Oh, okay.
Living the bearded, chubby life. Wow, that's owning it. I like that.
Yeah, I like
that long of a hashtag, and he left out the G in living just because he could. I like that. I respect that.
Yeah, that's it. He goes, that was probably there's probably
it's too long. Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably like you're one character over, and he's like,
yeah,
oh crap, which one am I getting rid of? You know, do I get rid of the extra B and chubby? Do I get rid of the I and just be LFE?
I was thinking living because my plate has it, but also I think around the plate has it is from Shawshank Redemption. Get busy living or get busy dying.
Yeah.
I love that line. I love that movie. It's my favorite movie.
It is my one of my absolute favorite movies. It's just fantastic. And then I was
a Stephen King written one too. Who knew?
I know, I mean, just I didn't know that until I bet it was years after that. It was one of the stories I never read, and I've read.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't kept up with him over the last couple of years, like 2 years.
I haven't either. I used to read all of them, but
I've read just about everything. I've got a new one. It's a book of short stories. Another one that he did about a year ago. I
got to find that. I do like his short stories.
And then because we watched the movie, and then then after the movie was over, I'm like, oh, this was one of the short stories, and it was something about some old man's phone or something, Mr. Harrigan's phone.
Oh yes, I did see that. I did see that movie. Yeah.
So I was a little disappointed in the movie, so it means I'm really, really going to love the book or the short story.
Look, Stephen King stories and movies either end up epically good or epically bad.
With that, I remember reading.
I don't think there's a middle ground.
No, I remember it was like the 6th or 7th grade. I was reading The Stand. And that was just when he just re-released it, the unedited version that added like an extra 500 pages. And then so I'm in school, and my teacher's like, "What are you reading?" And it's like, and it was like, I mean, it was a book that thick.
Yeah,
it was insane. But yeah, I read Under the Dome. Did you read that one? Mm-hmm. That was fantastic. And then the one Duma Key. Did you read that one based out of Sarasota?
I don't think I read that one.
Oh, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see if I have Duma Key.
I'll look that up,
and then I'll get it over to you. Because like I said, most of my books I read and I give out. There's a few that I always ask for back. Duma Key and Under the Dome, but that Duma Key.
Somebody said Dark Tower series was good. That's another one they've tried to do.
I never got into the Dark Tower series.
Oh, I like Dark Tower. That's good.
So long, and thanks for all the bacon. Needs a live adaptation.
Yeah, there you go. I did the audiobook for it, if that helps. You can get the audiobook with. Did you? Yeah, it's me reading it. Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't like too many authors, read their own.
You know who was Steve Martin's the one that made me decide to do that, because Steve Martin's book, he did the audio book, and I realized that when the author reads it, you get, especially if it's something like that, you get all the subtle inflections of a sentence that you just understand the attitude behind it a little bit more. So I'm like, well, heck, I'll just do it. So it took 2 days, and I just, had the mic up there and just read it. And it's stupid. It's really stupid, but it's fun.
One of my favorite movies, probably it might be my favorite, is The Jerk with Steve Martin. That might be my favorite movie all the time. I remember a couple years ago that they were delivering phone books in my neighborhood, and I used that audio, and I recorded the person delivering phone books, and then he came. The new
phone books here.
Yeah. Then I took the phone book. I said thank you. Then I put it in the recycling bin, right away. I don't even know what that cost. So
all right, let's do 3 big prizes.
All right.
Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to go to present. Share screen. Easiest of 2 monitors. Too bad. I gotta do some special stuff here. Hold on a second. I gotta let Google Chrome have my. And now I gotta type in what I had for breakfast. Prove I'm not a robot.
I love Chat GPT always ask me if I'm
he
goes, are you a robot? And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird you asking me that.
Okay, I think it's going to work. It asked me to reboot it, but can you see the click to spin?
Okay, I can add that to the screen. So I can see it. All you have to do is click to spin.
Yeah, look at all those names.
That is a wheel that would make Alex Tavella jealous.
That's impressive. All right, so we're going to do 3 of these, and this is going to be, I already got the little boxes, and I'm going to throw in an ESP pack, an artifacts pack, probably a t-shirt, probably a hat. I say probably because I'm not sure what's out there. Some stickers, whatever I can find, I'll throw those. The first one here we go. I want to know what the one red line is.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I already searched. Alexis Estapa. Congratulations.
Right. Sweet Pea one. All right.
All right. And we're going to do another one. Here we go. I always wanted to use one of these wheels. Now I finally got it. Sean Sangster. All right. Now, I like all the applause. That's kind of fun.
Oh, yeah, there was applause. I almost thought that was the chat panel for a second, applauding.
Here we go. And our third winner, Wayne Samuels.
Wayne Samuels. All right.
All right. Let me stop that, go back. I think I'm back. There we go. Congratulations, guys. And you got the emails, so you're already on the list. So we have some cool stuff coming. So I can make sure that I can email you guys directly, so some kind of secret insider stuff that we got coming out.
That's it. Now I got a few questions that I want to ask Fred. A few questions I'd like to revisit. These are questions I asked you when you were on our show a year ago, and I want to see if these questions or your answers have changed at all in a
well, good, because I won't remember what I answered. So yeah, we'll find out together.
All right. So I asked you, and you said, and I'll let you know that your answer. You said there were none. But I asked you if there were any metrics that were going to be used to find out whether you were doing a good job for the company or not. You said there were no metrics. But over the last, year, well, more than a year, I think, since you've been with Illusione now, are there certain metrics that you've set for yourself, goals to let hey, I'm crushing it?
Yeah. Wow, I don't think you could ask a more egocentric question. So no, there still aren't metrics. But I've been happy with the participation. I'm happy with the team and the company and what we do. And we've definitely, we've accomplished what we want to accomplish as far as the brands and the company and getting out there. And this is kind of going to be really the biggest year because it all kind of led up to now. Whether you talk about, repackaging, whether you talk about the new blends, the blends that are coming out. Also getting out there more. We're actually going to start doing a few more events, key events, not a ton. We don't really want to lose what we're doing, what our culture is by any means, but yeah, so I don't know if I have anything specific. I try to engage more. I try to post more. I just shot Dion probably 30 videos of them down at the factory. So something we're going to announce next week so that, we can kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and you guys can see the process and see why Illusione is or has been such a talked about cigar, why those lines are so important in the industry when there's so many choices. So yeah, I would say that would probably be my answer.
Now you say we are going to be doing some more events or some events. Is that we as in the company, we as in you, we as in Dion as well?
I can't speak for Dion. I know Ryan will be out there more. I'll be out there a little bit more. Ryan's more of a road warrior than I am, but we'll pick different events. As far as Dion, look, his highest and best use is really at the factory. and concentrating on those blends. But yeah, I'm going to try and nudge him to get him out somewhere.
Yeah, it's he is really a sought after personality person, a commodity, if you will, because people that are in love with Illusione are in love with Dion. He's a really cool cat, but he doesn't. I've never got a chance to sit down and talk with Dion ever, other than like saying hi, but he doesn't seem like a talker. Like when you guys at the factory, and I'll pull up this photo again, like, is he annoyed? He looks, I can't see his face, but he looks annoyed at you for taking the photo.
No, he actually is not as reclusive as people may think he is. He's just very focused. He's very he'll go into moments where he's just very reflective and he's thinking about tobaccos, and he's kind of one of those guys that when he's quiet he's thinking something. But I've had him in the last year. I've had him on a couple of Zoom calls where he'll get in a group and chat, and we want to do that, which is why I've got everybody on the list. What I want to do is I want to do a Zoom call where it's just an open Q&A with Dion. And when you can hear straight from him his thought processes and what he does is really, really pretty cool. So I'm looking to do more of those. But look, he's just not somebody that's going to jump on the road and stuff like that. Not because he doesn't like it necessarily, just because it's a time issue. I mean, it's really hard, between that and his shop, and the cigars and a portfolio as big as it is, and as hands-on as he is, it just doesn't leave a lot of hours to go, hey man, can you go take a week and go on the road?
Oh yeah. Now when he's home, well, first of all, how often is he at the factory?
So other than the COVID years, he's probably there every other month.
Oh, that often? Okay.
Every like about 6 weeks. Someone mentioned, he's not ego driven. He's not. He's probably one of the most laid back people I know in the cigar industry when it's just about the cigar industry and that, but he's not laid back about his cigars. Barry, I think, said it, but he lets the cigars do the talking, and he does. That's probably that's the perfect takeaway from that.
It really is, because there are the very braggadocious guy. We see him on the Zooms, we see him doing the videos. It's all about me. Kind of like what I do. But yeah, and then it just and you try the cigars, you're like, oh, well, that was all hype, and it's not that way with Dion at all. Now, when he's at home, is he just hanging out at his lounge, chilling? What's he do?
He does work the lounge, and he does, hang out with people there and stuff like that. He golfs. He does basically the same thing we all do. He's a big foodie. He cooks a lot and goes out to dinners and stuff like that. So he's just like everybody else, really.
Yeah, I remember it was a couple of years ago, probably 2 years ago. I can't remember who he was golfing with. That person was texting me, "Hey, I'm out here golfing with Dion, and he just brought up your name." And I'm like, "Oh my god, Dion knows my name." It's like, oh, and I had to sit down. I got all sweaty, and I'm like, "What's he talking about me for?" So, but yeah, I know he's a big golfer. All right.
Yeah, I'm a big golfer too, and I still haven't beaten him yet. So
no, he's at God. You got him by.
He's good. He's good.
You got him by a few years.
On paper, I think I'm supposed to beat him, but in reality, I don't.
Yeah, I'm one of those. I got a paper. We don't even have to play today. I beat you by 2 strokes. So let's just go right to the clubhouse. Yeah. So the other question I asked you, and you said you had not gotten any. Have you gotten any pushback? Like, has there been any ideas, any thoughts like, hey, we should do this or we should change this? And he's like, slow your roll, Fred.
Yeah. There's definitely stuff. Kind of what I do is I just try to push the envelope as much as possible. Yeah. And then he reins me back on stuff. And look, he's very respectful. We have a discussion about it, whatever it may be. And he has his points, and look, it's his brand and he's not wrong. But I've also been equally surprised, if not more so, by stuff him just saying, yeah, man, if it makes sense, let's do it. So we have very good conversations about it. He listens, he thinks things through. We have this joke because I'll come up with something and he'll say, that's not really on brand. And then he'll say, the other line will be, well, that's a little too on brand. And I'm like, okay, so what's the middle ground here? So sometimes we have some of that. But what I love about it is it forces me to not look. I'm a marketing guy, and I love cigars, and it forces me to think things through a little bit more, not just jump in and do something for the sake of jumping in. Um, we don't want to do anything necessarily, identical to what anybody else has done. Which I was surprised when we did the coins. Matter of fact, I'm going to throw coins in uh, with everybody that wins. We've got these coins, and look, we're not the first person to come up with challenge coins. But what we did is we did them to simulate the OD. So there's actually 5 coins, 4 of the OD and 1 of the Raven. To this day, I think I've only given out 4 Raven coins, and those are pretty rare, and those come with some other perks and some other things. But and we're we don't give out a ton, but we wanted our own spin on it as opposed to 1 coin and everybody gets a coin. We want it to be something special. So when we do things like that, we try to make them meaningful, and we try to make them part of our culture. We try to make it, like I said, it's always the brand first. So we always try to make sure everything centers around the brand and the cigars. It's all about the cigars. It's not about Fred. It's not about Dion. It's not about Ryan. It's not about Blake and everybody else, Howard and everybody else that works with Illusione. It's about the cigars.
It is. And Chad looking for a Raven coin. Chad, I'll tell you how rare those Raven coins are. I do not have one. So I've got all the other ones. I do not have a Raven coin.
The only Steve Toth has one.
Yeah,
and he's actually in the room, and I know Jeremy has one, but like I said, they're pretty rare. They're being held pretty close to the vest.
All right, because Jessica's a huge fan of Ravens, Edgar Allan Poe. So I'm gonna tell her, hey, did you?
And the Raven is the Ultra coin, is what it is. The Raven's the Ultra.
So need to hunt down. Yeah, you just gotta hunt them down. And like you said, I love challenge. Who doesn't love collecting challenge coins? It's one thing I can't wait to do in the new lounge is pick up something to do all the different challenge coins I have. We all love collecting.
I should display them. I've got some really cool ones. I had a guy that from a nuclear submarine send me the one from the sub, and some
really
military guys that sent me them and stuff like that. So it's fun. It's just something that's kind of like I said, it's a circle of friends type thing. And there's some that you can rent at events, but occasionally I'll give some out online. I'll see some posts, some cigar posts, and occasionally something we'll just randomly give out some of those. Otherwise it's probably going to be an event that or online, maybe posting something can get you a coin.
Yep. And then Danny is challenge coins aren't something you see in the UK. I think they're great things.
Oh, really?
I never thought about that. Whether that was just like an American thing, like the challenge coins. So yeah, Danny, you need to get on some local retailers, some manufacturers over there. Get you guys some challenge coins.
Yeah, I never really thought of that being kind of an American centric thing. But I don't know. We collect everything here, so what am I saying?
that we do. Cutters, lighters, coins, shoes, whatever it is. But I want to go back for a second and just touch on something that you had said that, making start, when you have an idea that it's on brand or off brand, in the portfolio of, Illusione, everything is on brand. Like there isn't something that doesn't make sense. Now there are tons of even like when Saka did, the Stillwell Star, that was a little off brand for Saka. Now he did make it work because he's Saka, but other manufacturers, sometimes they'll come out with something and you're like, that's just weird. Like why would they do that? Like something wacky, when they're a serious brand, but you look at the Illusione portfolio, like everything is on brand and it really does just make sense.
Yeah, and I think, look, some of it, and I'm not critical of whatever people need to do to sell cigars. As long as the cigar is good, I generally don't really care. But some of it's gimmicky. I mean, it's a cheap stab at getting something, and no one knows what the cigar is, and like, oh, they're all over whatever the fancy name is and stuff like that. And it's cool, it's fun, I get it. It's just not probably something we would do just for the hell of it. It's going to have some sort of meaning. It's going to be tied to what is the culture of Illusione. So I don't really see us doing anything really wild like that.
Yeah, and then the other thing was, you guys don't have a a face of Illusione. Like Dion's the face. People, Dion's not the face of Illusione, in my opinion. Dion is who created the company. He creates the cigars, but he really isn't the face of the company. You're not the face of the company. It's when you said that earlier, and it made me think that, and I'm like, that's true. The cigars really do. They just, they stand for themselves. And I'm trying to think back at any other company. You're talking, and I was going through my mind, and I'm like, I can't think of another company. Like the cigars stand for themselves without having a personality behind them.
Well, so, there's always people behind the blends, but you look at somebody like Padron or Davidoff and things like that. So those are brands that, they did have a personality. There's obviously somebody that has to drive the ship. There's obviously somebody that has to do the blends, but you never really want the personality, in my opinion, to really come. The cigars should speak for themselves, and then anybody else is really just a liaison, an ambassador, somebody helping get the message out a little bit. But none of us personality wise, and it starts with Dion, wants to come before the brand. And yes, we get glimpses into, what he does and how he does it and things like that. And that's all that makes sense. There was no difference than Hanky behind Davidoff or Eladio being with Davidoff or, Padron or whatever it may be. But the brand is still up front because that's where the reputation is. That's where, when you walk in and you pick out an Illusione cigar, it needs to be good. It needs to be a blend. Now, maybe that's not the blend for you and you try a different one or whatever it is, but it needs to be quality. It needs to be good. If somebody walks in a shop and they spend $8, $10, $12, $14, $18, whatever they spend on a cigar, you owe them that experience. We're in business of giving experiences that hold deep in flavor, deep in your mind. We want you to have that experience. And so that's why you don't lean on a personality, you lean on the brand, you lean on the cigars.
Yeah, and like I said, and I don't there isn't a brand out there that I like, and Illusione included, that like I like everything they make. Like there are just some cigars that just don't hit my flavor profile. It is what it is. We're all different. I don't like some cigars. Jessica loves them. She goes, "You're crazy. This cigar is amazing." I go, "Yeah, construction quality always dead on. It's all, you never get a bad one. At least I haven't. But so if you find one and you're not digging on it, always try another one.
Sure, absolutely. That's the great thing about for us, how many cigars we have in the portfolio. We've got several, and it's interesting is that we always have these conversations on shows where we got caught up probably about 7 years ago. Not we as Illusione, as a cigar culture. What's new? And a good friend of mine back in the day, Clint Aaron, he had, it's what's new to you. I can tell you right now, if you've never had an Illusione, and we have recent releases and we have the Singular Origin and the Habano and stuff like that. If you've never had the Fume de Amor, go get that cigar. It is an awesome, just well-rounded blend. It's a go-to for me. And there's several of them in the portfolio like that. So it's not really what's new, who's got the latest, newest cigar on the market. It's what's a good cigar. And there's a lot of cigars that have been on the shelves. Have been on the shelves for a long time that are great cigars.
That's it. Karen, my co-host, he said it several times on the show when he'll tell people that he goes, "Hey, what's new?" There's a humidor right there full of brand new cigars. Go take your pick. It's all we as an industry could really never come out with any new blends. And you're always finding something new, and it's always cool. And like what Dion does, where he finds a new tobacco and it's something fun to play with, and it is something new. But you really could stop coming out with new cigars, and there's plenty of cigars to smoke. If you can't find a cigar or a dozen cigars that you love in the current environment, then you know what, you probably shouldn't just have cigars. Then it's just not for you. Exactly. But this over the last couple years, just the what's new, it's almost getting out of hand. It's just how much can you tap an existing market? You're on social media every day. There's a new LE. There's somebody coming out with something new. And it's just like, I stopped looking. I stopped hunting probably during the COVID year, 2020. I stopped doing it. It was getting to be too much. I was always,
you can't keep up with it. You can't look. And that's not to say, look, if somebody finds some unique tobacco and they want to do an LE, or maybe it's a short run because there's only so much of that tobacco and they don't know whether they'll be able to get that tobacco again, or if the crop will even yield that type of tobacco again. I get it. It makes sense. You know, you can't be in the cigar industry on the manufacturing side and find some really cool tobacco and not play with it.
Yeah.
But to just churn them out and come up with new names, new blends just for the hell of it, so you're always in the news. That's just never been our style on Illusione, and we don't need to.
Yeah, you know, there are a few like crown heads, like so when they come out with something new, I'll generally go after a crown heads. I'm like, all right, so you know, John and Mike, they put some work into this one. This was one they don't do new just to do new. Same with Illusione, you know, same with a few manufacturers. When they come out with, you know, an LE, it's a true LE. It's just like, I'm like, okay, I got to have this one.
Yeah, and look, a new cigar should be something that had been in the works for quite some time if you're doing it right. This isn't something you just wake up and go, hey, I'm throwing out a new cigar. This should be something that you just literally, you've been working on for a couple of years to see if it's right and it's going to be what you want it to be.
That's it. What is this cigar, Barry? Here, new release fatigue is real. Why keep chasing perfection when the Epernay La Matine already exists?
Yeah, the Epernay is an amazing line. It's a little bit milder, just a lot of rich flavor to it, a lot of subtle flavors to it. Like I said, that was the one that had the highest vertical rating, horizontal rating, I guess. Well, they call them verticals. Anyway, out of Cigar Aficionado. The De Asta, if you can find the 10 count box, the De Asta is an amazing cigar. I think
it's fantastic.
I want to say, and I'm going to get this wrong, I want to say it was number 6 cigar of the year, but I could be wrong. It might have been 7. But the De Asta was a 10-year anniversary blend, and you can still find those. We're out at the warehouse, but it is something we still make, that cigar. But any of the Epernays, you know, solid line as far as that's concerned.
Now, what about TAA? Did you guys do a TAA release this year?
We did not. We did one last year. That's another example of, you know, if we're not going to throw a cigar together just to throw a cigar together. So we did not do a TA this last year, but we are selling a ton of the last two, the TA 21 and 22. So, you know, it just was one of the things that he just wasn't feeling a blend, and he wasn't going to put it out just because it was expected, or just because, you know, you're supposed to, or because, you know, you want to fill something in a portfolio and have it. So he just didn't have anything in the works right there that made sense to put out as a TA, so he didn't. We do have a PCA exclusive that we're going to have at the show, and that is something that Dion's actually had the process for some time. That's going to come out of the show, and it'll just be a one and done. I don't believe there's any plans for that to be in the portfolio going forward. It's just something that he found some tobacco that he liked, and it just made sense. So you know, but we didn't do a TA this year. Couldn't tell you if we're going to do one next year. My guess is, because it's late in the year, that, you know, there's a couple things in the work that could be a TAA. But like I said, there's another cigar that I'm really hoping we put out. I think it's going to be a 2024 cigar that I love. But you know, he's not going to put one out just because he's supposed to put one out.
Yeah, and I didn't have the 21. You gave me a couple of the 22s, the TAAs, and you had said, hey, you know, these are probably
they weren't for you. They were for Jess.
So I got 2 from you, and I want to say Abe gave me a couple of them, and I did smoke one, and then I smoked the second one the next day. It was mind blowing. It was so good. It was a stronger, a stouter cigar, so I made sure I had a good meal. I took my time smoking it, and it blew me away. That was an amazing cigar.
Yeah, it's funny because if you're going to try them, it's weird. So it's like, you know, the 2021, which is off the Privé, and the 2022, which is different. People are usually in one camp or the other. They're both really good cigars. And I'm not comparing the cigars because there's no comparison because it's a different cigar. But it's like Padron 64 or 26. It's like guys usually like one or the other. Drew Estate T9 versus T52. There's like, oh, I like this one. I don't really like this other one. So that's really where I see people fall in the TAA. Some guys are like, yeah, I like them both, and I like them both. But I like the 2022 better for some reason, and I couldn't tell you why. I like it better for me, but then there are guys that'll tell me like, you're crazy. The 2021 is so much better. And it's like, well, okay, you know, I don't know what to tell you.
So this is the Piv, this Jeremy Piven one. Now this is one that Jessica and I completely disagreed on. I did not care for the cigar. It just did not hit my profile. She loved that cigar. Is that an ongoing release, or was that a one and done?
No, it's probably a one and done. I mean, I can't speak for certain on that line necessarily, but my guess is it's probably a one and done. You know, it's a celebrity scenario and all the other things that go with that. So my guess is that that's a one and done. I smoke a lot of those on the golf course. So on the golf course, I'll either have that one or I'll have the Fume de Amor. I would say the Artifacts 5-pack is pretty close to that blend. Similar wheelhouse, if you will, as far as that's concerned. So that's something you can still get, but you can still get the Pivens. Matter of fact, they're selling really well. But like I said, everybody's different on what they gravitate cigar wise, but I don't expect that one to be ongoing. I don't expect that one to come out in other sizes. And it's not something we've talked about lately. So, I mean, there could be a plan for that, but I don't think there is.
Me, it's that Singularity. I have been smoking more of these than any other Illusione. Fantastic. So when you start seeing those, definitely pick some of those up. I mean, I think I'm down to my last couple, and I mean, it's an amazing cigar.
We'll make more.
Yeah, that's it. You'll make more, and people will start seeing it out here.
Well, it'll look. And speaking of which, that was another thing as a company, because the cigars were, everybody has that problem of stock and warehouse and keeping the pipeline full. And it's great when your cigars are high in demand. It's just hard to maintain. As specific as Dion is, and he'll sit there and go, okay, we're not rolling the cigar when we need it. Because he doesn't like the tobacco. It's like, well, I'll check back in 3 months and the stuff that's coming up and see if that fits it. It makes it hard. So this last year really was a concentrated effort to boost production so we could avoid some of that as much as possible. The Candela, Nick mentioned the Candela. That's another one. If you've never had a Candela, that's definitely one to try, even if you don't like green cigars. I don't like Candela generally. There's only about 3 Candelas ever made that I like. And it's when someone gets away from the grassiness of Candela and blends to complement that, and you lose that just grassy, like you're just chewing on grass, and have something that's got more subtle flavors to it. So every time anybody talks about Candela, Dion's number 1, number 2 on that list.
Now,
so if you don't like Candelas, I'd say to try one.
Yeah, but you had a Candela with Nomad, didn't you?
I did, and I did that with Black Label, James Brown, and struggled with it. I absolutely struggled with it. And it was something that I was doing for the Green Bay Packers, and I'm like, I'm lost. And James kind of saved the day on that one, to be honest. He literally called me. I was in Nicaragua. He's like, I cracked the code. And we went in, and he had been tweaking, and he came up with something offset on it that actually worked. So I liked mine, but why wouldn't I like mine? Because it was blended for me. I mean,
so is that what the GB stood for, Green Bay?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Breaking news right now.
And 1919 is when the Green Bay Packers started. Which, oddly enough, outside of Wisconsin, the biggest state that sold that cigar was Texas. And to this day, I believe it's because the Dallas Cowboy fans did not know that was a Green Bay cigar.
Oh, I love it. But you made a good point. Like I said, when you talk to anybody in the industry that loves Candela, and like I said, and Karen and we always say there aren't 2 more people that love Candela more than, as in consumers, Karen and I. We hunt all of them down. We smoke them all. We absolutely love them. And but you talk to anybody in the industry, Illusione, it's always in the top 5, guarantee. Of like, hey, what should you try? The Illusione. You have to try the Illusione. You got to try the Fuente 858. Camacho, back in the day had a great Candela. Aladino. I haven't tried their new one. I heard it's on fire.
I haven't tried Aladino's. I think, look, if you don't like Candela because of the grassiness, that's in 80% of all Candelas. It's a tough wrapper. It's a tough wrapper to work with. It's a tough wrapper to blend with. It's a tough wrapper to as far as the storing of it and everything. So 80% of all Candelas, if you don't like the grassiness, then you're not going to like 80% of the Candelas out there easily. But if there is a sweetness to it that's really really good. That if it's blended right in that way, it comes out, but it's not overpowering, and that's really what Dion accomplished in his Candela.
He did. He really did. I sent a message to John Oliva Sr. One day, and I had a couple questions about Candela that I didn't know. And then he goes, why don't you give me a call? Let's talk. And I was on the phone for almost 2 hours, and I'm trying to type notes, and I'm taking all of these notes, and that man, obviously he grew up, on Candela, I mean,
sure,
the Olivas are the family of Candela, and told me everything I wanted to know. I didn't need to know about Candela, but like you said, the storage, that's what I never knew, about the storage of Candela,
yeah.
prior to shipping it, making sure the factories are storing it properly. But yeah. Great cigar.
For me, it's also one that I have found that if it's blended, like particularly the ones that I like, it's not one you lay down for a really long time. I think the Candela, is a wrapper that loses it. For me personally, it doesn't have a lot of the oils that some of the other ones do to begin with. So it's one that, hey, if you've got some sitting in the humidor, go smoke them now. Because it's not one that I think test of time necessarily. It's not like it's bad. It's just it starts to lose a little bit.
They don't age. I've got one left of the original Camacho Candela, and it's yellow now. It's not green anymore. And as I smoke through them, like I said, there's nothing Candela left. About the cigars. Like you said, they don't age. So that's one cigar you do.
I look like I'm on a screensaver right now.
You do. It looks amazing. You got all the.
I never know what I'm going to get on a sunset. And actually, I'm like, wow, this one.
I know.
That actually looks better in the screen. I don't know why.
That's like an influencer's dream right there. You got a palm tree.
Right. I'm live from Bora Bora.
That's it. So, all right, Fred. It's been an hour and 15 minutes. I know. All
right, give away one more random one to all the people that said Fred. And right. I'll throw something up a box there.
So I think we've had a few more people join us since that. So for the people that haven't typed in the word Fred yet, definitely type in the word Fred, and we'll pick again in a minute. But yeah, it's I'm stoked. So when you guys heading out to PCA?
I'm leaving Thursday, I think. Not this. What's today? Today's Thursday. I leave in a week, I think. So, and it's they're long days. I mean, I think the first day is open from like 9 to 7. So we have a cocktail party that night. So it's gonna be fun. I look forward to the show. It's nice to catch up with retailers that you haven't been out to where they are, or they're just too remote, or just sheer time. There's too many accounts to go out and see everybody. But it's a good time.
It is. Who are you next to this year? What's around you?
I have no idea. I have no idea who we're near.
All right, you were near Jeremy McDonald Wildfire last year with his.
Yes, that was fun to watch because he had his little campfire thing going. That was actually a lot, and he had this bear. He had this stuffed bear. I think it was a costume. So when he was away, I wanted to have somebody like go into it and like just stand there the whole time and scare that crap out of him. But we never got around to it.
That'd be awesome. He's getting ready to launch Camp Wildfire, coming to a town near you.
Yeah.
So I'm super stoked on that. So all right, so let's present the screen here.
And every package that I send out on the winners, I will include a coin.
Oh, right on. Let me just go back here and type in the word Fred again to catch all the new ones.
That's super cool. You can do that.
Yeah, it was something that I belong to a StreamYard community on Facebook, and I had I've been begging them for like a year to do this. So
there we go.
So Ed Willis. All right.
I don't think that's really Ed Willis. That actually looks more like Mark Twain or somebody.
Does it? I don't know.
Go with it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with it.
It looks like Mark Twain.
Tell
me in the chat box who that's supposed to be.
Yeah,
maybe he's not on chat. That may not work.
So yeah. All right. Kevin at cigarprop.com. All the winners tonight. The main winners. Fred already has your email address, so he'll send you.
No, I don't. I don't. Send them to me. I won't. It's too big of a spreadsheet.
What? Yeah. So, all right, Kevin at cigarprop.com. And Fred, thanks, man. This was a blast. I had fun.
Yeah, thanks. It was a lot of fun.
All right, we'll definitely have to meet up at Corona Cigar Sarasota soon.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
All right, man. You have a good night.
Yeah. Thanks,
you.